Everybody loves fried chicken, but not everybody loves the mess of frying. Today, we air fry Cajun chicken and even show you how to use the leftovers to make your own chicken stock. I'm Jeff Philbin. This is Dinner Diaz. Joining me on a return visit to the Dinner Diaz kitchen is Chef Matthew Zappoli, Creative Culinary Director at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa. My man, it is so good to see you right now.
Thanks for having me back.
I am so happy to have you back here because we've called on Chef Matthew to help answer a question sent to dinnerdiaz@fox.com. Debbie, thanks for writing to us. She wrote to us asking, as one who is not too interested in either deep frying nor turning the oven on to compete with my elderly HVAC unit, is there any way you could feature ideas for meals that people can prepare with air fryers and toaster ovens, since that may be all someone has? Debbie, that is a really great question, and thank you so much for reaching out to us on that one. Chef Matthew has brought us a way to get fried chicken flavor all in the air fryer with a recipe for a Cajun Air Fryer Chicken, which he's making with the Cheddar Cheese Grits, and we're starting from scratch with a whole chicken.
That's right.
Because we don't want any of this to go to waste.
No, this is the way I like to prepare my chicken at home. Like
Okay.
I start with a whole chicken every time. I buy the good quality chicken from either, the grocery store or Whole Foods, wherever we are that week. But I like to make my own stock. I want to have that in the fridge.
And this is an economical way to be able to get a lot out of it.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you think about what you pay for a pack of broken down chicken versus what you're going to pay for a whole chicken and what you're actually going to be able to do with it. Yeah, this is a cheaper, more economical route to go. And this can feed you all week. I mean, I'll make 2 or 3 different versions. And yeah, at night I'll get home, I'll pop it back in the air fryer, and that'll be dinner.
And you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
I love that.
So what I've done so far is I actually did a French style on the wing, which is just for presentation purposes, and we're just starting to separate our parts.
Okay.
The chicken that we're making today, it's not going to be like your traditional breaded chicken. It's going to be gluten-free in the way that it's just marinated and then crisped up really, really well in that air fryer. And for me, nowadays, that's my go-to. There isn't a day at home that I don't use my air fryer.
Really, it is that much of a tool now that it's just part of the whole arsenal that really goes into the routine, because many people will have that just sitting on the counter. They don't know what to do with it, don't use it that often. It might have been a gift.
Right.
You're using it regularly.
Yeah, because it's easy to clean, and it gives you a crispy, hot product quickly. You want to reheat pizza? There isn't a better way to do it.
Yeah.
You want to throw that chicken that you bought from the grocery store in the oven to crisp it back up again? Nothing's going to work better than an air fryer. If you want to make buffalo wings, but again, you don't want to break out the oil and make a mess of your kitchen, you just take those wings, throw them in the air fryer.
I think that's an awesome point too, because for me, I used to have a deep fryer at the house, but the house always would smell like the deep fryer.
The oil.
I just didn't like that, and it was not an inviting scent. But now, you're right, that you could get all of the crispiness with the air fryer.
And that's the best part, isn't it? Getting that skin nice and crispy. So in order to give this flavor, now there's a lot of different routes that we could have gone. We could have done an Italian version with rosemary and lemon and more of a Tuscan version, but I was inspired by the Res Grill, our American grill at the Hard Rock.
Okay.
So I wanted to do a Cajun style. So we're going to make a Cajun marinade very, very simply, if you want to help me out.
Yeah, I'd
we're
love
going
to
to throw a few garlic cloves in that blender.
Okay.
About 2 tablespoons of that Cajun seasoning. And again, you can use any type of Cajun seasoning that you get at the grocery store. McCormick makes a decent one. Some people like that slap your mama. Depends on where you're from, really. A little bit of rosemary. And then we'll add the oil. That already has salt and pepper in it, so we don't need to add any salt and pepper to this. And then we'll just blend that up nice and smooth. And while that's blending, I took some of the chicken bones and I added them to an Instant Pot. We're also gonna add some mirepoix.
Now, for those at home, the mirepoix is the base for flavors in this stock here. So you've got your carrots, you got your onions, you got your celery.
That's it. Then we added some water. that's it. 30 seconds to a minute. You just want to get those flavors blended throughout that oil so that we can spread it all over that chicken.
It smells fantastic too.
So easy, right?
It smells so good. All right, so we're going over the chicken.
All over it.
Boom.
Yeah, we want to let this marinate for minimum 2 hours, preferably overnight. Some on the white meat too.
Let's go for it.
Perfect.
Oh, look at that. That looks absolutely fantastic. For Chef Matthew's fantastic oil-free fried chicken recipe, grab it at our website, dinnerdias.com. You can do that with the camera app on your phone if you just zoom in on the TV right now, as if you're going to take a photo. And when the camera sees the box down there in the corner, that's a QR code. The link to us will appear.
All right, so we shake that up. We throw that in the fridge.
How long should these be in the fridge for?
Like I said, 2 hours minimum. I like to go overnight because then that flavor really gets into that chicken.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, these bad boys are going into the fridge.
Yeah, and then we added our chicken carcasses to the Instant Pot. Again, any type of pressure cooker will work. There's a few different brands that you can use, but I like the Instant Pot. And there's a soup setting on here. I just put on the lid, close it. It makes a little noise. I press the soup setting button and press start. It goes for 35 minutes and it's done.
So we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we get the marinated chicken cooked up, plus a very special sauce that we'll be making with that chicken stock. Ahead on Dinner Deals. Well, welcome back to Dinner Dias. We're frying, but without the oil, thanks to Chef Matthew Zappoli. He joined us for a return visit from Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Tampa, to help answer a question from Debbie, who wanted a meal idea without having to crank up her oven or the AC. So we're making Cajun Air Fryer Chicken with Cheddar Cheese Grits. Before the break, Chef Matthew made quick work of carving up a whole chicken, and that is the cost-effective way to get the most meat for your money. But the carcass didn't go to waste. It went into the Instant Pot, along with onions, carrots, celery, and water. And on the soup setting, with what normally takes about 6 hours, it's ready in 30 minutes. We also made a marinade for the chicken, just blitzed in the blender. Garlic cloves, Cajun seasoning, rosemary, and a blend of canola and olive oil. Then let the chicken marinate in the fridge with a minimum of 2 hours, but as you were saying, overnight, deeper presentation of those flavors, but a minimum of the 2 hours.
Yes.
Very cool. So what are we doing over here right now?
Well, we have the chicken stock that we made, so I wanted to use the chicken stock in a couple of different ways. So we're going to use it to make a sauce, which is going to be Cajun style. So we're using that Cajun Holy Trinity, which is onions, celery, and bell peppers. Like mirepoix we talked about earlier, it doesn't have the bell peppers.
It doesn't have the bell peppers.
It has carrots. So here we go. We add our green and red bell peppers with our onion and our celery. And we're just gonna let that sweat in a little bit of whole butter. And then I'll add a little bit of salt just to help get that, get some of the flavor and the moisture pulled out of there.
Nice.
All right, we can turn that up a notch, let that cook, and then
we have a stock here. Like, this is gonna be folded in and incorporated, but like this stock now, not 6 hours, 30 minutes, that setting. What does it look like now?
Now it's cooked down. You get all the flavor from the vegetables and from the chicken carcasses. And then what we'll do is we just need to strain it out. And that's going to be the base for our grits. And it's also going to be the base for our sauce.
You know what's really cool too is we were saying it before was like you now can be able to get all those collagen extracted out. Like I just saw that. You could see what would be all of those fats right now.
Yep, it's all broken down. It's in that liquid. You know, women, they love having that extra collagen for their skin.
Sure.
And when you cook it in that Instant Pot like that, all that collagen comes out of the bones and into that liquid.
But what's also really cool too is you can control the level of sodium as well.
Yes, absolutely. There's no added salt to ours whatsoever. You know, the store-bought stuff is convenient, but that's the part that you have no control over.
You have no control.
All right, so I'm adding a little bit of garlic. We're gonna let this sweat a little bit longer.
You let that sweat. I'm pulling the chicken out from the fridge for you here because we've let this marinate with some that we had done earlier here.
Yeah, we have the marinated chicken. We kept the parts separate. Now, the beauty of this air fryer is we have different levels. So if you want to help me out and get some of the dark meat and some of the white meat in there, we'll get that going in the air fryer. You know, there's a lot of different models that you could buy nowadays.
Because this is your personal one here.
That's
this is
the
yours.
one that I bought, yeah, for my purposes at home. And it's great. You know, I line the bottom with aluminum foil to keep, you know, all that oil and stuff from, you know, getting to the bottom and sticking and making it all gross. But yeah, we've got 3 different levels that we can cook this chicken on, and it comes out so beautiful in here.
I love the idea of this one too, because like you literally have like a mini convection oven over here.
Yeah.
You know, and this is really awesome with that airflow that kind of can now cook everything. That's where you're gonna get the frying.
That's where the crispiness
now,
comes
if
from.
someone at
that
home,
airflow.
For them, you know, saw this, or maybe they don't have an air fryer, but maybe like a toaster oven. Could that work for someone?
A toaster oven will work. It's going to take longer. You're not going to have that same airflow.
Yeah.
But you'll get close. You'll get close. Before I had an air fryer, I would use a toaster oven at home for a lot of different things. But yeah, it wouldn't be able to cook as much as quickly, that is for certain.
And have that level of just surface space. I mean, you have 3 rows in yours. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. I use it literally every day. So now this chicken, we're gonna cook at 400 degrees. It's gonna take about 25 minutes, all right? So we're gonna cook it for 15 minutes at 400. We're gonna rotate it. We're gonna cook it for another 10 minutes. As that's cooking, we can finish our Cajun velouté, what we're calling it. It's basically, you know, your French mother sauce, which is, you know, velouté. Which is just your chicken stock, which has been thickened with flour. So that's what we're doing. We're adding a little bit more butter. We'll add more of that Cajun seasoning that we talked about earlier. That's where the flavor comes from.
And the smells right now, because now it's getting that little toasting of it right now inside that butter. And so you can really start getting all those aromas right now.
Yeah, now it's starting to smell like Southern food.
Yeah. Now we're kind of getting going here.
All right, so the veggies are soft. We're gonna add some flour in there. That's gonna help us to thicken everything up. And then at this point, we're going to just cook that for, you know, a few seconds so that we don't have a raw flour taste. And then last but not least, we deglaze. So in this case, we're using white wine, but you could use a sherry wine if you wanted. Or if you wanted to go red, you could. But for this, we want it to be white, so we're gonna use white wine.
And what will that do for the sauce?
It's just gonna give you a little bit of acidity. It's gonna be another layer of flavor to it.
Just that nice.
Yeah, without the acidity, you're gonna feel like it's flat.
Oh, I can't wait. We're taking another break. When we come back, Chef Matthew shares his tips on making great grits. Ahead, Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz. We're cooking chicken today, literally the whole thing. Thanks to Chef Matthew Zappoli, Creative Culinary Director at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Tampa. He's shown us how to break a bird down and use the leftover bits to make a homemade stock in just 30 minutes. Before the break, we started on a sauce, cooking up the Cajun Holy Trinity base of onions, celery, and bell peppers with garlic and butter, and got our marinated chicken into Chef Matthew's air fryer, and we set it for 15 minutes before we turn it over. Then added Cajun seasoning, butter, and flour to thicken our sauce, and deglazing the pan with just a little wine there, and that was it.
That was it.
Oh.
Yeah, now that our chicken is cooked for 15 minutes at 400, you'll see that the chicken on top has already gotten some nice color.
Absolutely.
The stuff on the bottom, not so much, but the internal temperature is getting close to done. So we'll rotate those. You know, this wing here, we want to get a little bit more color on top, so we'll flip it so that the skin gets nice and crispy. And then we'll set it for another 10 minutes.
Very nice.
All right, move this one up. Because the higher towards the top, the crispier it's going to get. And you see the aluminum foil is catching all the juices for us.
It's perfect. It's clean. It's ready. In another 10 minutes, this will be ready to go.
That'll be ready to go.
While we can now focus our attention on grits.
Yes. Now, the grits that we use at the Res Grill at the Hard Rock, is a speckled grits. And you wonder what's
What's
grits?
a speckled grit?
It is actually a blend of yellow and white corn.
Okay.
So you can see there's actual yellow bits inside of all that white, and that's where the name speckled comes from.
And you can taste that difference between having the white and the
I
yellow
think
corn?
so.
Yeah.
It's a little bit sweeter. It's just, yeah, you know, you eat a bowl of grits sometimes and you taste the butter and you taste everything else, but you don't taste the corn.
Sure.
But I feel like with this one, you really, really do taste the corn.
And you can too, because all you need to do is just grab Chef Matthew's recipes and see how he did all of this. Head to dinnerdias.com, scan that QR code down there if you want to find us fast.
All right, so it's 4-to-1. That means 4 parts of liquid to 1 part of grit. So we've got 4 cups of the chicken stock that we made. We've got 1 cup of the grits in there. This is gonna take 15 to 20 minutes to cook. So we're gonna lower that down,
Okay.
let that cook nice and slow. And we'll go back to our Cajun velouté / Cajun sauce or Creole sauce. And again, in here we have the Cajun seasoning. We've got the Holy Trinity. We've got garlic. We've got the wine. And now in order to finish this sauce, we're gonna go back.
Here, I'll keep going on this one here for you.
All right, beautiful. And then we'll throw the lid back on once we get it to the point where it's moving a little slower. There we go. All right. And then while that's cooking, we get the heat on here, and we're gonna add more chicken stock.
Now this is our own stock. Now save some of that for a second, because I want us to go for it, because
Yeah, what's so special? Why do I need to make it? What do you taste? You taste chicken.
you taste chicken.
It's clean.
You taste chicken. Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, when you think about the stuff that's off the shelf, yeah, sure, it's gonna have a chicken essence behind it, and I use that word essence behind it. But you're also gonna get that punch of sodium. So it's like, what are you really getting? Is it salt? Is it chicken? Is it something else going on? This is clean.
Yeah, there's no preservatives, there's no concentrate. It's just all the proteins and the collagen and everything that we want from those bones.
We do have to take one last break. When we come back, cheese and butter join the grits, and we serve it all up ahead on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz, where we're making chicken without the heat of cranking up the oven or the mess of frying. By request from Debbie, who wrote us asking for a meal that spares her HVAC system. And Chef Matthew Zappoli came through for her and us. He's from Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Tampa, and has shown us how to make Cajun Air Fryer Chicken with cheddar cheese grits that we cooked up with some stock, made in just 30 minutes, all in the Instant Pot. Now, these grits over here.
Yeah, you see how they're now getting nice and thick. They're coming together. You can smell the corn. We'll add some butter, some cheddar and Parmesan cheese.
Very nice. And that's going to give that nice little saltiness too right there.
Yeah, nice saltiness. You get
that
the sweetness,
creaminess.
yeah. I'll give her a taste, see if she needs some salt. Oh. A little salt, maybe a little bit more butter and cheese.
A little bit. Ooh, that's coming along nicely. I got a little bit of that cheddar behind that too.
Yep, now we just needed that salt to, you know, bring all those flavors together. Definitely need some more cheese. And again, you know, you like your grits cheesy and buttery. You put as much or as little as you like.
Love it.
You see how that is now.
Look at all that coming together.
Really creamy. It's almost like a risotto creamy, and that's what we're looking for.
That's kind of coming along like that, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna finish our sauce while those just kind of relax there for a minute. And we have our house-made chicken stock, our Holy Trinity, our Cajun seasoning, our wine, our butter. We're gonna add a little bit more butter, and then we'll crank this guy up. And what I like to add, all of my cooking has to be finished with some type of a fresh herb.
It has to be.
So in this case, we're using green onion, chive, and while that is finishing,
And those are some great flavors that are not going to compete with what's happening. It's just going to accentuate and just bring that nice little bite behind it, that punch.
That's it. It's going to give you a punch, just like you said. Oh. All right. So now I'll grab a spoon here. We'll do the grits right down in the center here. It's nice and creamy.
A mastermind over here, just working the plate. I love this.
And then we have the chicken, which we got nice and crispy in our air fryer.
I mean, the colors and like what's happened over there, you can know that that's just going to have crunch.
Oh yeah.
That texture is going to be there.
That color has flavor behind it. You can taste it just from the color. And now, last but not least, will be our Cajun sauce or Cajun velouté. And then you can put as much or as little as you like.
Look at that.
I like to make sure that it's all around. A little bit over the chicken, but we don't want to get the skin to be soggy.
Yeah, that's always the trick right there.
Yeah.
Just, you know, folks, like you worked hard to have a crispy skin. Like the sauce.
Let's not mess it up.
Let's not mess it up. Exactly. Work around. It's artistic and it's purposeful and it's the way to do it with that little finishing touch right there.
Yeah, these are some pea shoots that I really, really love. And we'll just add that for a nice freshness and green color.
Debbie, my friend, here's your oven-free dinner. Let us know what you think of it. And if you have a recipe request, email us at dinnerdiaz@fox.com. Thanks to Chef Matthew. You all can find this recipe and more at dinnerdiaz.com, where you can also find a link to the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, where this man masterminds 5 different restaurants?
5 restaurants.
5 different restaurants. I'm Jeff Philbin. Thanks for watching, and see you next time with more ideas for dinner, or as we call them, Dinner Diaz.